Hello and welcome to Electric Cars for Rideshare Drivers. I'm Lindsay and I work for Fourth, a transportation electrification nonprofit, and we are working in partnership with the City of San Jose to reach out to people who drive for work about all electric vehicles. First things first, you're probably wondering why make the switch to an electric vehicle? I'm going to share with you more information about how they can benefit you and your work today. Uh, so, some of the topics we'll cover are lower fuel costs, lower maintenance costs, the future of electrification, which is upon us, uh, cleaner air in a high performance vehicle, and customers will probably like it as well. Uh, and then we'll also get into the basics of electric vehicles as well. Again, about lower fuel costs, in PG&E has an e-gallon estimate of $1.70 in California currently, which is about a 50% reduction in the cost of gas for your vehicle. That is substantial for a person who drives for work. And some public chargers are even free. And I work with drivers, and I know that you tend to be very savvy about the cities and towns that you're working in, and that you will learn where the chargers are and where the free or cheaper ones are. It can become very natural if you make the switch to an all electric vehicle to put those chargers into your routine. Spending less on gas will increase your take home earnings. Full-time drivers in electric vehicles estimate that they spend $50 to $100 a month on public fast charging. That is pretty good in a month compared to gas vehicle counterparts spending $20 to $58 in gas a day for full-time work. That can easily happen. And there's a testimonial here below from a driver I know in California. He says, I used to spend $400 a month in gas alone. Now I spend $400 total and I'm driving a brand new car. So they are very happy with the decision to be in an all electric vehicle. Another cost savings factor is lower maintenance, just less maintenance. In an all electric vehicle, there's no oil changes required. Your air filters won't need replacing. Your timing belt's not going to go out. Spark plugs, etc. So that is great for your pocketbook and for reliability. And then the other statistic I have here is that EV owners on average save 800 per year in maintenance compared to gas vehicles. And if that's the average, you think about doing rideshare and delivery, you're driving a lot more, you're doing a lot more maintenance. So you're going to save actually a lot more than that, probably too. And I have a bullet here, regenerative braking. That is a feature on electric vehicles that also helps to preserve your brakes and tires. A lot of drivers that I've talked to actually don't need to replace those as often, which is just another benefit. Uh, and of course, there's been a lot more talk about all electric vehicles. Auto manufacturers are setting years for when they want to be all electric with their production. Uber and Lyft have made commitments to be all electric by 2030. So the platforms are going electric. It could help you to do so now, especially while there are incentives and rebates to help you out with the cost. Because electric vehicles are pricier upfront, and these incentives exist. I'll tell you, the city of San Jose wants people to be utilizing these funds that are set aside for people to help make the switch to electric. And then charging availability is increasing a lot too. Uh, as you can see here, I have a couple maps of the Bay Area and of the LA area. And this map is from PlugShare. And you can download the app And you can filter on the app based on the charging level and the plug type, which we'll get into in a little bit here what that means. But basically, you can find the chargers that are going to work for you and your route using these these different apps. And as you can see, there are a lot of options. There will be sufficient chargers to make it work for your work. Here's an image as well of the San Jose Clean Energy website. They list all of the rebates and incentives and financial programs that may be available to you as well to help you get into that electric vehicle. And it can be hundreds, it can be thousands. The most I've heard of is 17,000 uh, that someone was able to use using all of the rebates that were available to them. $17,000 off of a car is a lot of money, so it's great to take advantage of them. And again, these vehicles, they're very high performance vehicles, and it's a more sustainable technology. The all electric vehicles, or BEV for battery electric vehicle, they have zero emissions, and so that's better for our air quality. And the performance of the vehicles is really great too. People describe electric vehicles as quiet and smooth. The rider feedback tends to be extremely positive as well. Some drivers report higher tips and also enjoy the great topic of conversation. Another couple adjectives that people use is that these cars are very responsive and safe, which is really important to someone who's on the road all the time. Uh, Another testimonial here: I love my electric vehicle. Nothing would ever make me go back to a gas car for this work, was another rideshare driver in California. So, getting into the basics of electric vehicles. I've talked about charging a little bit. Charging is something that you do instead of fueling up at the gas station. You plug in. There are different levels of chargers, which equates to their speed. There are 3 levels total. The chargers are compatible with different vehicle makes and models. And then this other word, range. Range means how far your car will go on one charge. It's calculated in miles. And so, for example, 200-mile range means your car's estimated and advertised range, it'll go 200 miles on a completely full charge. More and more used models have longer ranges. It used to be more of an issue that used vehicles had kind of a minimal range that wouldn't really work as well for like a full-time driver, and that's starting to change. And then we're going to go into some vehicle recommendations as well on this presentation, and also just cover probably your question about the batteries as well. How long do they last? What do you do about that? Um, so, uh, Charging levels. First, before talking about level 2 charging, I want to acknowledge that there is level 1 charging. It's a cord that comes with any vehicle that you will buy, and that actually will help you in some circumstances because it's a standard cord and only requires a standard outlet to use it. However, using level 1 will take many hours, even days, to charge your car fully. It's a good supplement. If you have access to a standard outlet and not this next level dryer outlet, it still will help kind of bump up your charge just a little if you have some hours to put towards it. But this next level, level 2, is something that most drivers will be utilizing, and it is a 240 volt or dryer outlet required for it. And usually you get 12 to 40 miles of range gained per hour of charge. And you will see these chargers at grocery stores, apartment complexes, workplaces, and a lot of people do install them at their home as well. You can see in the picture on the bottom right here, that is a home charger in a garage, just plugged right into the port. And that's very convenient that, in 4 to 6 hours or so, your vehicle would be fully charged overnight for you. And you could just start your day with a full charge. There's also level 3 fast charging or DC fast charging, DCFC. Um, that is the fastest level of charging, and you can get an 80% charge in 20 to 40 minutes. Uh, so that's something that you can incorporate into your workday really easily. You can take a little lunch break and charge up your car. These pictures here are of the different ports, which represent different vehicle models. At fast charging stations, there will be different cords available for different models. So you can, again, referencing, say, PlugShare, you can filter on that app and make sure that you're going to a charger that has the equipment that you need. And the examples are here below. We've got CCS, which is a good example, would be a Chevy Bolt port. The middle one here is CHAdeMO, which is a Nissan, like a Leaf. And then the Tesla charger is unique as well. Talk a little bit more about range here. The range of your electric car does fluctuate. As you're driving, as you're accelerating or going up hills, your range can fluctuate, and you can also get it back. So as you're going uphill, for example, your range may deplete faster than you would expect. However, when you're going back downhill, you actually can gain your range back. It's because these vehicles are efficient in a way that gas vehicles are not. Even doing the start and stop city driving that you do, especially I think as rideshare drivers, delivery drivers, you're starting and stopping quite a bit. That's actually very good in an electric vehicle for conserving the range of the battery. Much more efficient that way. So if you're driving smarter too, when you accelerate or brake gently, avoid excessive speeds, you can conserve your range as well. But it's good to know about the variety of factors that can affect range. Just know that you can drive and use the features like regenerative braking to help conserve it as well. And then the batteries. So I have a little bit of information on that here, and there's a lot out there about batteries, but um, I think the most important thing is that the battery technology continues to improve and exceed the expectations that have been set out in prior models. So in the early days, in like earlier models, you would usually see more of a reduction in the battery capacity, like the battery life. And uh, the example here is a 20% reduction over the course of 5 years. And recently, they did a study on a Chevy Bolt that showed only a 5.2% reduction at 100,000 miles. And looking at the 100,000 mile marker, I know that delivery and rideshare drivers are putting on a lot of those miles. So the other aspect is that manufacturers sometimes do provide battery coverage for 8 years or up to 100,000 miles. They're like kind of the standard uh, amounts for miles and years. And it's worth exploring getting a warranty that may cover the battery. However, like one of the big things I want to convey here is that the batteries are outperforming expectations, and the drivers that I've spoken to say that the cost savings in the meantime may help with the future investment of the new battery if that needed to happen. And the other layer of this is that battery technology improving and becoming more and more common will help reduce the cost of batteries. So right now, they can be thousands of dollars. In the future, hopefully it will be less and less expensive to deal with anything that should happen. Now we're going to get into vehicle models. These are all electric models that I've outlined that could be a good fit for your driving work. First on the line, Kia Niro. This has 239 miles of range, and you can get a new or used. The used price is obviously a little bit less. Um, Great vehicle, and it's spacious as well, which is nice. The Mustang Mach-E is a newer vehicle, slightly less range at 230, and a little more expensive as it's newer. The Nissan Leaf, I have included, I think, a range of 151. You'd want to consider, especially for part-time work. This could work for if you're not on the road all day every day, but the 150-mile range could work for some use cases driving, and of course a much more accessible price point. And Teslas, of course, have you know great range here, and then the higher price tag a little bit for it too, but nice cars. And then the Chevy Bolt, depending on the year, there are ranges between 238 and 259 miles of range. And with that, depending on the year, you can find really pretty good deals on the Bolt as well, and a pretty affordable price point for a higher range vehicle. And I would say, it's a pretty common one that I have noticed amongst rideshare and delivery drivers that people can be pretty happy with that choice. Yeah. And then closing out here, what do you do next if this has piqued your interest? Of course, any new vehicle decision, getting aligned with financing, you know, getting prepared for your budget and thinking about incorporating, a loan or what have you with this investment, checking out your credit, making sure, you're ready to make that investment. And of course, alongside that, exploring the rebates and incentives that you qualify for. And I've listed the site here. It's sanjosecleanenergy.org /EV /hashtag rebates. And researching vehicles, the fourth website, fourthmobility.org, has the EV buyer's guide, different vehicle models that I just showed you, as well as a page specific for rideshare driver resources. And if you want to reach out, you can ask some more questions at electrifyrideshare@fourthmobility.org. Thanks so much for joining. I hope that you stay safe and well. And if you have any questions about electric vehicles, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.